Ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sandbox Saturday stream. I am Alex Florez, aka Kamisazi, joined here by who is this guy? Who the heck is
Yes,
this
chef.
guy? Who are you? What are you?
Oh, Alex, my name is
What
Joseph
are
D.
you?
Phoenix Matting, and I'm just a guy on the internet. You know what I mean? We're just out here helping people make games and make games better every single day. And I'm very happy to be here on this lovely Saturday where I am, quite frankly, entirely exhausted. And we're having a good time.
We've been exhausted, right? When was the last time we weren't exhausted? Like
You know, that's true.
2019?
I'm, I was going to say 2018
Okay,
before
that's
we
fair.
got into this business.
All right. Well, hi, Joe.
Good morning,
Joe's
Alex.
been around. Joe's been around. He's popped in a little bit, but I don't know
Yeah,
if you've been on camera with me in a while.
not since the last Game Jam awards ceremony, Alex.
The last one that you did with me?
Yeah, the last one that you announced here live at the Sandbox Game on Twitch and YouTube and twitter.com/the Sandbox Game. The last time you were here doing this, giving away a bunch of sand and land. I was here. We were in the flow, doing our
Okay.
thing.
All right. I have memory lapse issues right now.
You
So,
know,
hopefully I remember who
he's
our winners are
exhausted.
today. We'll figure it out. All right. So, we've got the Yes Chef Game Jam going on. But first, we're going to talk about the news. Yeah, the
All
Mocha
right.
Game Jam. Was that it? It was the Mocha Game Jam was the last one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Pokeverse last time. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
I forgot that happened.
You
It
know,
was. We move fast here,
it,
folks.
it's great. It's great because every single day there's something new. There's always good new news. New announcements to make. Alex is here multiple times a week.
This
It's not
is
as memorable for Alex. You know what I mean? He's like, man, I've been doing this for years. I've been pumping these out, been grinding, been putting in the work, been giving you rewards,
this
and
is a
you're
cautionary tale. Make sure you get enough sleep. REM is very important for retaining your memory.
that's true. See, I just go with the other option, Alex, and I just say I don't need a memory. It's
Hmm.
fine. How did I remember that I was here for the last game jam? I honestly I don't, I don't even know. I don't even know at this point. I'm just here and I'm like I'm cooking in the kitchen. I'm here to have a good time and make memories for the people in the chat. And I've literally got a spreadsheet of the responses that I made for this game jam up on the biggest screen, so I couldn't possibly miss how to help people in the chat. That's my memory is fake, chat. My memory is completely artificial and always notes for myself. That's how I do. Alex, he's like, I got too much going on. I can't. Couldn't possibly. It's too much going.
Oh no. So we've got a visitor. Some of you may remember this guy. I mean, this might be before
Mm-mm,
some of your time.
mm-mm.
Half Dork is chatting through Twitter right now. He says live chats on Twitter is weird. And
It is weird.
I tried replying, but apparently Restream doesn't actually send it to Twitter, so he wouldn't have seen it.
It's true.
It
YouTube and Twitch just read hi Twitter. But the
so
Twitter comments feed does not exist through Restream as a service. So
but
hello, Half-Dork.
we do see you, Twitter, though. We see you, Half Dork. We appreciate you.
I see. I see.
All right,
I'm not
so
looking
we're
at
gonna go over the news real quick. This list courtesy of the one and only PandaPops. So we've got some events going on that you may want to check out. As always, you can just go to the events tab on sandbox.game. You can see that we've got stuff going on for Fist of the North Star, Dystopian Universe. We've got the Voice Coach Battle. You can actually win tickets to go see the Voice live uh, in this event. So definitely check that out if you love singing, if you love the TV show. Uh, We've got a Rabbids Music versus Love event going on. You can transform your avatar into a Rabbid, and there's some different NFTs that you could win, depending that you could get depending on whether your team wins or loses. If you choose music or love team, or you can choose both. You can be like me and play both sides, get both things. Uh, there's a Ragnarok event going on, open till the 4th of June. I didn't even know about this one. I'm gonna have to check that out. The Impact Game Jam is going on right now. If you did not enter if you didn't sign up for entry, then it's too late to join now. But you can cheer on all the builders, and we're gonna be getting votes on that in about 9 days. I think is when the council is going to get to start playing all those.
Yay! I'm super excited.
There's also if
Did
you
a did a playtest for those, Alex. By
oh
the way,
yes, yeah.
at
Tell us
Game
about the
Jam.
playtest real quick.
So we do live playtests. That show is back. GMAE show last night, yesterday, last morning, depending on where you are in the world. Did a live playtest, and we're going to do another live playtest of games that are in the process of being built on next Friday. If you want to join us here on the official channel, then you can submit your game for live playtest here on the show. I did it for Life Made Me Paul. I think their username is Paul Life Made Me. I just always read
I
it,
think it depends on the platform. I've seen it both ways.
Yeah. Did a live playtest for them, help them sort of guide them in the right direction with the intention of making their games um, more streamlined, more high quality before they submit properly at the end of the game jam. So if you want to submit for that, if you're already in the running for that game jam, then you can submit your games or experiences there, and we'll help you hopefully get into the honorable mention section if this is your first time making a game, or maybe even in that top 10 of that game jam. There's also a template available for the game jam to help you get started if you don't have mastery of the logics system inside the sandbox game. This is a no code game maker, of course, but sometimes it takes a little time. So we'll help guide you through that process there on that show. So make sure you submit your game for that if you want to get good feedback. And the feedback should be useful to you, hopefully, because I am one of many judges in that very specific game jam. So all the feedback that I give you should help get you to this point that we are doing today, where people are winning sand, land, catalysts, right? Catalysts, not
Yep.
gems. We don't do
Yeah,
that
we'll
anymore.
talk about all the prizes in a minute.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so Joe and usually somebody else from our team on the council are participating as judges. There's also judges on the Sandbox staff, and sometimes we involve judges from if it's like an IP event. Sometimes there's judges from whatever the brand is, and Joe's been doing this a while. Joe's been judging
Just
these
a couple
game
of years.
jams
Just a
since
couple of years.
I don't know if Joe was a
Since they
judge on the
existed.
very first game jam. I don't
What,
know if you were a judge
what
or
was
not.
the first one? Do we even
It
know
was
what the
just
first
called
one
it was
was?
just called the Sandbox Game Jam, I think.
Was it?
Uh I don't think it had a
Boy,
subtitle. But then there was
I
like the
feel
Level
like
Up Game Jam and there was
was the first one the one that Andy submitted to,
I think so. I
or
think
what?
that was
No,
the
that was
first
like
one.
maybe that was the second one. I think that was the
It
second one.
might have been the second one. We're reaching back ancient history here. This was like late 2020, I think was the first one, something like that. It's all on YouTube archived. You can go back and look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Joe's been doing this for a while. Joe has a lot of great insights into what makes a game fun to play, what makes sense to players. So it's easy when you're building something to get a little bit of tunnel vision and just be like, I'm making this cool thing and I really like it this way. And then when you show it to somebody else or a group of people, they're missing something. There's something that you know that they don't know, and they're lost and they're not having fun. So having an outside perspective is always helpful, especially having one that's had a lot of experience helping out with this kind of stuff. So definitely take advantage of that if you can.
Oh my gosh. I found it, Alex.
You found the first game jam?
Just for fun. It
What
was
was
called
it?
Fire and Ice. That was the theme.
That was the first one? Okay, I remember Fire
Hmm.
and Ice. I didn't remember it was the first one.
Yeah. At that time, first place was 1,000 US dollars metric in sand.
We've
Now
gone up a bit since then.
that number is quite a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
remember some of the winners from that jam. That was
yeah,
I don't
it's
remember
wild.
I don't remember what we did last month, but I remember what we did 3 years ago. When was that?
That
Does it have a
was
date?
in October of 2020, was originally posted on medium.com slash sandbox hyphen game. So
So
it
long
had
ago.
ended. The winners were announced October 19th through slash 23rd. It says winners announced along the week. So
2020. So three and a
2020,
half years ago.
yeah, 3.5 years ago. No, yeah, it's been an adventure,
Wow.
and we're here doing the Yes Chef Game Jam,
Yep.
which is what affiliated with, of course, the Hell's Kitchen IP. So it's nice to see how we've evolved and grown over the years here.
Oh yeah. Lots of cool stuff going on. All right. Real quickly, Panda's also got mentions of the week. So she'd like you to check out the Run Panda Pong experience. Make sure to give it a rating and some comments. I see there's some comments already. I'm sure that she didn't pick this just because it has the word panda in the name.
No,
Uh,
definitely not.
Also, check out Alice's Room by Giram Studios. Uh, we got some spooky horror themed games here in the sandbox, and you know I love those. And also check out Voxpressive's Selling Crimson. Sorry, Voxpressive's Crimson Gold Dragon Armor up for sale. I'm actually going to give you a link to their profile so you see more than just the head. I think there are still some copies left. I did buy a set of this suit because it's a good price. And, you know, they might have. I'm seeing one
Dun
copy
dun.
each. They might have already sold those, but
They
you
might
know,
have
check
sold
them
out.
out. Um, they've actually made this artist. I didn't even realize it's the same person. They made one of my favorite armor sets here, the Fenrir Frost set, um, which had I think 100 power legendary sword, if I remember correctly, and it's just a cool set all around. Great artist. So I'm gonna share a link to them. We've got Alice's Room for the Back Rooms Game Jam, I should say. Run
Oh
Panda
no, it
Pong.
has an apostrophe in the URL.
Okay, yeah. So what happens if you see the links like this and there's an apostrophe in it or other punctuation that's breaking the link, you can select the whole thing and copy paste it into your URL bar. I apologize. I can't I can't control that. There's the only thing I can do is talk to the people who have these URLs be generated and say, "Don't put the punctuation in there." I mean, I actually should probably recommend that. Um, but you can also find all these things by going to the Sandbox website, sandbox.game, and go into experiences and typing out that. Whoa, what's going on there? Why are you like this? All right, I think somebody's rearranging things here, or my web browser thinks I'm on mobile for some reason. Um, but you can always search the experiences or the map to find these games
It's
and
so
the
funny.
marketplace.
Immediately having a good time watching your responsive.
Yeah, like
Why are you
it's
like this,
yeah.
Ilsa? It's in the chat. It's like, you have this 4K screen or whatever,
Yeah,
we're super wide, we're ready to go, and then it's like, no,
yeah.
no, no, mobile only, mobile only. Is this a tablet? Are you on an iPad? Don't worry, I got you.
All right. There's also a Path to Glory event live currently, and Builder's Launchpad fast track your game. You know what? Let's talk about this real quick. Um, there we go. When it didn't load, I was scared for a second. So
He's like, we're going mobile, chat.
so
Let me get
so
my
this.
VR headset so I can see this.
Let me
So
grab my Apple Vision Pro.
there it
Um,
is.
so this started yesterday, and it goes till August 18th. You can register if you're a UGC builder, meaning user generated creation. If you're building on the sandbox, you're a UGC builder. The Builder's Launchpad. Step into the world of endless possibilities with Builder's Launchpad, a unique program tailored to assist UGC builders in fast tracking their games into the sandbox map. Whether you're an advanced creator or just starting out, our goal is to provide you with the tools and support needed to showcase your creativity to everyone. How we help? One by one land offered, or sand if you already have a land. A one-on-one TSP expert follow-up to help you with playtesting and game design feedbacks. Set of catalysts offered from 100 common to 1 legendary. Experience featuring for 1 month on the Sandbox main page. You can apply with the form and don't miss a chance to turn your ideas into reality. If your game has the potential to be developed and supported, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Join the Builder's Launchpad. So, yeah, this is a program to help you in your journey. So whether you've been participating in game jams or if you're just getting started, this will help set your course in the sandbox. Lucas is right. From the chat wants to know: are you operating from a Motorola Razr? I mean, this would be the biggest flip phone you've ever seen.
That one did get me. It got me because there's the one side where I want to say, you know, it's 2005, I guess, again, and it's like one of the old school legit Motorola
Sure.
Razors, and then there's the other side that's a super tech nerd that understands there's a new Motorola Razor that's just a
What?
smartphone. Yeah. Yep. And what is it like $1,500 for one of these Motorola Razors
Oh
now?
gosh.
Oh, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. $1,000 right now for a Motorola Razor Plus Peach Fuzz color.
Why is
It's
it so much?
what do you mean? Alex doesn't know. Alex doesn't know that's what phones cost now. That's what
I've
smartphones
got an
cost.
what I think how much was my phone? My phone's not that old.
No, your phone is ancient for sure, for sure. This one here, this broken one that does the thing, $1,500. No, 1,000. I don't know. Stupid expensive. I'll tell you that. And quite frankly, not worth it, chat. Uh, I'm gonna advise,
Oh, yeah, I'm on an
not
iPhone
financial
13
advice.
Pro.
Don't
They're
get a
on like what,
folding phone.
15 or 17 now?
Yeah, it's on 15 now. Don't get a folding phone. I've had this phone for a while, right? And literally, I only would open it if somebody sent me like a funny video on TikTok or whatever. I would unfold it and be like, okay, I'm gonna watch some kind of a movie film on my phone. And man, the screen on the inside has a touch layer. If you don't know this about smartphones, it's got a touch layer to allow you to touch it, and then the real screen's under it. So the foldable screen part, chef's kiss, works great, but the folding layer for you to touch it started to separate from the screen part. Don't buy a folding phone. Don't buy a Razor in 2020, whatever. Don't buy it, in my opinion.
Unless you're
The
buying an old
Samsungs.
one that's still holding
There you
on.
go. You need the classic one that doesn't even touch, and you're just like, I needed to flip this. Those were
Gonna
fragile.
hang up.
I I remember being back in that time, totally unrelated to game jams, but doing a little quip here.
Yeah, that's
I used to own a Samsung phone back before it was cool, Chan. When the Motorola Razr was coming out, I had a Samsung phone that was also a flip phone, and on the front face it had like play, pause, next, whatever buttons for
I
media.
remember those.
So
Yeah.
like that was changing the game, and then on the in the center when you opened it, it also had a camera that spun, like you could flick it around so you could take
Oh, I
selfies
remember
before that
those.
was a thing. Before
Yeah.
selfies were a thing, I had the thing that you flicked it around, but it was big and bulky and kind of ugly.
Hmm.
and people, ew, why don't you have a razor? And I'm like, "Psh, I'm living in the future, all
Right.
right, living in
Because
the
Razer's
future,
whole
doing
claim
that.
to fame was that it was like the thickness of an Oreo.
Yeah, yeah, and but that said, I was also like a super nerd, and I had like a connection to go from my mobile phone to my PC because we only had dial-up back then. We're living back in my day, and the phone was 5 times faster than dial-up. Like the
Wow.
email connection, you could dial star 998 and establish an internet connection with unlimited service from your phone to your PC. And that's me. That's me being a nerd. How do
I
I know
remember
that?
reading about that in a comic book as a kid. About like, oh, I connected my laptop to this cell phone. I was like, what?
Hacker man, you know?
Future.
Future. And now that's ancient past. It would have been 25 kilobits per second for download.
Yeah,
No, no.
somebody was roasting modern people who complaining about their internet not being fast enough or something, or how long something takes to load, and he's like, wow, looks like some of you never grew up with a 56K connection. I was like, 56, 56.
Imagine,
We only had a 28
imagine.
modem and it only ever went 14.
Bod 14.4, you know?
We
No,
never even got close to the 28 that
no,
was listed on the modem.
no.
It's like we would download
The
things that I feel like,
mm, it
I mean, it was
I mean, if you
minutes.
were
It was minutes
28A,
to download a megabyte.
you were getting 2.8K per second
Yeah.
download because most
2.8 was a good
or
day.
less.
Yeah, it
2.8
was
would have been the
less.
high end
Yeah.
because you're
It
not
was usually like a
converting bits to bytes
1.3 or
properly,
something
but
like that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
I had
The
download managers because it would take so long to download anything, and if somebody picked up the phone, they did anything, it would cancel your download, and then you have to start
Ugh.
over again.
Ugh.
So
Oh, it's the worst.
a download manager would actually be able to pause and resume your download as long as the server supported it. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can down that MP3 that takes 10 minutes to download for the one
Mhm.
song. It's a
Mhm.
3-minute long song.
Mhm. I remember
Oh
okay.
man.
This is a time when and there was a transitionary period, right? But a 56K modem could technically get 25 kilobytes per second as a download rate as long as you used a download manager like that. And it essentially did what modern downloads do today, which is to download the individual parts of a game and then sort of stitch them together, or like an old school torrent or something would do. Don't do that; it's illegal. Chat. Um, but yeah, that's it.
Joe might have been a little
Good
bit of
times
a
being an old
freak.
person. Being an
Um,
old person. Mom, get off the
Luke.
phone, says Lucas Right. I'm trying to download Metallica off Napster. Bro, you're breaking
Oh,
the law. Why'd you
literally,
pick Metallica on
I
purpose?
I literally
Can't
thought
believe it.
MP3s were illegal until I was like in high school because I heard about all the news on Napster, and I was homeschooled, so
Yeah.
I didn't have any friends to like corrupt me with the
Mm,
devil's music. So
mm.
I
Don't, don't, don't tell him about my
I
backstory, Chad.
I
Don't do it.
found the MP3s that came installed on Windows XP that just come with the installation. And I went, I don't remember downloading that. I thought it was illegal to have music on your computer.
Definitely, as long as you own it,
Yeah,
right? As long as
I
you
mean
own it
it was what
properly,
that bit of like
you
I
were
think it's
allowed
Beethoven.
you were allowed to make your copy. And yeah, outside of copyright timeline,
Yeah,
right? A song that's 100 plus years old or whatever, you're fine. But yeah, very famous timeline there. Back in my day.
speaking of the devil's music, we're gonna go visit Hell here, or
Yes,
rather
chef.
Hell's Kitchen. So we're talking about the Yes Chef Game Jam. Join us for the Game Jam in the Sandbox. Enter a vibrant ecosystem where gaming meets culture and your wildest dreams become your new reality. We're going to skip past the rest of that spiel here. Enter the fast-paced universe of Hell's Kitchen, where there is no time to rest in the latest Game Jam, where you have 3 weeks to create your game. Those 3 weeks are up. It's done. If you're
You
not
had it.
done cooking, It's raw.
It's touch that.
All
Touch it.
right.
Oh my gosh. Touch that. Touch that meat. Touch the meat. Touch. Did you even try to cook this steak? It's raw. Put it back on. If you've never watched Gordon Ramsay's shows, I'm gonna tell you what, it's actually better to make a food raw on their show than it is to overcook it. He
Oh
actually
yeah.
gets like he gets raging mad when you overcook. When you're
Oh
undercook,
yeah.
he's like, "You donkey." But when when you overcook, he's throwing pans across the across the kitchen.
You can you can usually save something that's undercooked. But once it's overcooked, there's you got to change the recipe to something else or it's done. Um my favorite videos of his though is when he's like cooking with his mom and he doesn't cook something all the way through and she goes, "Oh, it looks a little doughy in the middle there." He goes, what are you talking about?" And then he pokes it with a knife and is like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And you see him pop it back in the oven and just kind of like walk away in shame. Um anyway, he seems like a fun guy. I used to think he seemed like really scary. And I guess if you're working for him as a chef, he's probably very scary. But if you ever see him interact with like kids or
Oh man.
like friendly,
Yeah,
YouTube and TikTok
yeah.
cooks, he just seems like
Very
a real
wholesome.
yeah,
Very wholesome.
yeah.
I think it's not like that he's stressful. For me, like if I was so graced to be in that situation where I'm cooking, I would
Mhm,
say Gordon is not a stressful person to cook for, but more so like he's just got levels to it. So when
mhm.
you actually get to the level where you're expected to be a chef, or if you want to say aloud, I am a chef,
Yeah.
he just kind of clicks and he's like, "Oh, you're a chef now. Okay. All right. You want to be a chef now? You want to be a chef now?" Like, we're going hard. We're going hard. I'm
Right.
I'm criticizing you. Like, and it's funny, I conduct myself that way as a because I love to watch his shows. I conduct myself that way in the kitchen now.
Mm.
I tried to make one of his Wellingtons, like recipe on
As
his site. It does not
the,
give you
the,
high detail.
no lies here.
And
I
yeah,
saw pictures of what Joe cooked for Wellington,
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
looked really good. It looked really
It was
good.
so good. But I will tell you, full disclosure, I went full Gordon Ramsay on myself when I made this Wellington because I finished the Wellington and I know that I did not like you're supposed to use like a cheesecloth or something to really like wring out every last drop of moisture in the mushrooms and put these like ultra dry, like processed cooked down minute mushrooms so that it's almost like grainy as a
Hmm.
layer between the meat and the bread.
Hmm.
And I did not wring them out enough. So the mushrooms, while they were nicely layered over the top, sort of came together on the bottom. But you won't see any of that here in this game jam chat because people were mostly making what they were making. Why can't I risotto? There was a lot of risotto made in this game jam. There weren't a lot of wellies that were made. Would have liked to see some more wellies represented in this jam, but nonetheless, Alex, there's a stealth giveaway form drop in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Who put that
You
up?
if
What
you're
is that about?
if you want to have a chance at winning Wizzy the Orange Singed Hat, Wizzy the Orange's Singed Hat. I can't talk today for some reason. Uh, we've got a link that dropped in the chat here. Lucas, since you're hanging around, could you share that link to Twitter as you so often do? I appreciate you, Lucas.
It is tough to say cooking simulator. It's
Look,
true. Lucas putting typos out there. You're probably on your phone, right? You're on your phone. I understand that. The number of times that my phone pops out a typo is extremely frustrating. The number of
mm,
times my face does that live here on this show also frustrating.
yeah, I know what that's like. All
Just
right,
my face popping out typos.
let's go through the rest of the theme here on the game jam. We're gonna get a little focused here. I'm all over the place today, but we're having fun. I'm having fun. Uh, let's make an exciting cooking simulator. What does that mean? Well, we're looking for a few things in particular. Have an order system randomized that requires at least 2 ingredients. The game will require the player to prepare recipes in a random order, each preparation needing at least 2 ingredients to be executed. Cooking system: cut, boil, cook, or mash your ingredients to transform them and mix them to create delicious recipes. Have a score system: a satisfied customer should increase the score of the player. Brand opportunity: Hell's Kitchen would like to welcome you on their land. Taking part in this game jam offers participants the chance to be picked up by the IP to be published on the Hell's Kitchen estate. To maximize your chance on being hosted, use some of the assets provided specifically for the Yes Chef Game Jam. These can be found in your wish list on March 21st. That part's not important because we're all already past that. Take inspiration directly from past Hell's Kitchen experiences. And if you want to create some assets that take inspiration from the IP, you can. Just don't violate copyright. Especially don't use any representation of Chef Gordon Ramsay. So you might see, I think in at least one of these either winner or honorable mention videos, you see Gordon Ramsay as the player walking around, but that's because that is a official Gordon Ramsay avatar. So that's just the creator playing as the avatar that they have, which is different than putting an asset that represents him in your game. So that's something that we've seen in most of these game jams when there's an IP, is that you can make everything very like on brand to the theme. But if there's like a real life celebrity, they kind of want just the official sandbox version of themselves to exist on the platform. They're not looking to have everybody making different versions of Steve Aoki and Deadmau5 and Gordon Ramsay and everybody else that we've had the honor to work with on this platform. So just keep those things in mind. If you ever have questions on what's allowable on the platform, I'm always happy to answer those because I've spent a lot of time involved with that stuff. Hey, Skyhand110, Wayward Escapade. What did you miss? You just missed me and Joe having fun, talking about old times, talking about how old we are with technology.
Basically ancient, Like if we're not tomorrow just rolling,
just close the crypt and put up the tombstone. Yeah. We're out of here.
Rolling like a rotisserie chicken in my grave, because we're that old. Old gloves, says Hill. I probably exaggerated that.
Oh well, happy birthday to your your husband there.
Tomorrow. Okay, I've been hearing the old spiel. I do that to my child, who is now 14. This is me being old. I've done it since she was like 5. Every birthday. Happy birthday, you're old now.
You're as old as you've ever been.
It's great because when she was really young, she has my sensibilities, and by that I mean like just a tinge of yes, of a what do we call this? Wow, I can't believe my brain won't process.
Sarcasm.
There's a word I want to use and I don't want to use it because some people might take offense to it, but I own it and embrace it wholeheartedly as somebody who has this mental function. But nonetheless, she has my mental function, I should say. And so, as a young one, as 5, 6, she'd be like, "No, I'm not old. I'm young still." And now she's 14, right? She just turned 14 a couple of weeks ago. And she's like, yeah, I'm old now. And I'm like, okay, Daria, like you're not that old, right? Yes, thank you, Wayward. You can say it in the chat. I'm not gonna, we won't reproduce the text content here for the chat, but that's me for sure. For sure.
All right. So, prizes for this game jam. You stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 sand, 20 lands, and exclusive catalyst packs in the prize pool. Additionally, the first 100 valid entries are rewarded a participation prize of 100 sand each, for a total of up to 10,000 sand in an additional pool. Uh, Brand opportunities, well, we already talked about that. Prize pool below. First place is 15,000 sand, a 1x1 land, and a gold catalyst pack. Second place is 8,000 sand, a 1x1 land, and a silver catalyst pack. Third place, 5,000 sand, a 1x1 land, and a silver catalyst pack. Fourth place, 3,000 sand, a 1x1 land, and a silver catalyst pack. Fifth through 10th place, 1,500 sand, a 1x1 land, and a bronze catalyst pack. And honorable mentions each get 1,000 sand and a 1x1 land.
Which is crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
just because for a few seconds we were talking about the first ever game jam that we ever did in the sandbox, and we definitely did those award shows together. I remember this,
Yes.
the Fire
Oh
and
yeah.
Ice game jam, and
I remember
the
those clearly.
first place back then was $1,000 worth of sand. Now, just honorable mention on its own is nearly $500 and a
And a
land,
land, which is,
which
I
is
think, at
over
least $500, right?
cumulatively over $1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's crazy. That's
and more
crazy. I
prizes
mean,
than
that's
there were
great.
before, because we've got first 10 positions and then honorable mentions on top of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
great.
I think we only had 6 or 7 honorable mentions this time. So yeah, but definitely if you're hesitant about joining a game jam, try it out. Like there's you don't get in trouble if the game's a stinker. Like, we try to give as much constructive feedback as possible as judges. That's one of the things the council uh established doing for these game jams, is to always give written feedback for the entries, to try to help build you up and improve you as a creator. Clarify what we're looking for, and see how you can adjust that, and hopefully make some successful games. So you're getting paid to learn how to build games, and get professional feedback on it. That's what that participation prize is. So obviously they have to be a valid entry, meaning you're not just submitting the exact copy of the game template that was provided for this game jam. Make sure that you're doing something original with it. But we're always happy to play your entries and give you feedback. Um, there's all the KYC requirements, know your customer, what the catalyst packs are, and we got the dates, and we don't need to read the rest of this. We can just get right into our videos here. Two wolves on a default template, on a plain template. You could say plain. I
I
like saying
love that
default.
your brain
Filled it
definitely immediately substituted the oldest meme we've had probably on this channel, except for like Spoin. Two
Yeah.
wolves on a default template. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
All
Any
right.
number of wolves. Any number of wolves, really.
All right. Well, Joe, are you ready?
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
ready.
shut.
All right. Without
I can't just
any
answer.
further
What's up?
ado, we're going to play the top 10 in a random order. We don't know who our first. I mean, I know, but
I don't.
you. Yeah, Joe
I
doesn't
don't.
know either. He could
I
know.
was getting last night, Alex
Ooh. Oh
is
no.
producing this video chat, and he's sending me random screenshots of like, this is what's going on. What happened? What'd you do? Oh no, I was frozen.
Yeah,
He accidentally
just
alt
for a
tabbed out
second,
of
you caught back
the
up.
chat.
Yeah.
He's got me down here like he's got me down here
I didn't touch anything. That was all Joe. I did nothing.
That was my fault. I did that. I actually remotely accessed his PC and then I just minimized Discord.
You're like delayed too. Your audio is ahead of your video, I think. Just a little bit.
That's impossible.
I
I'm kidding, of course. Obviously, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
There's something going on with this
We're
hacker
gonna
man. All right,
we're
play the video, Alex. Play the video.
we're gonna
Let's
play the
run it back.
video. Joe's gonna be
Just
hidden
run
for a
it back.
second anyway, and we'll catch him up.
Dun, dun.
All right. Here we go. Top 10, random order, and then honorable mentions. Let's go. You're muted if you want to like disconnect and reconnect real quick. Of course, I wasn't muted. Beyond Cuisine by Beyond Fox. Mastering Kitchen Rush Hour by Tobencraft. Oh, that might be Toby Incraft. Never thought about that before. Inferno Cook-Off by Sanja Studio. Island Feast by Vox Machina Studios. Pet's Kitchen by Voxel Sandwich. Hamburg Trip by GoGoBox.
I have so much to say, but I want to save it for when we get into where
He's
they
unmuted
actually
right now.
sort of were placed.
Great R Burger by Greater Work Studio. Chicken Tears by Siberia Mood. That's a great title. Kitchen Farm by Craft Palm. Indian Cooking Restaurant by PGV Lab. And now for our honorable mentions. B Chef by B Team. Daredevil's Kitchen by Happy Team. Cooker by Shakespeare. Hell's Burgers by Pixel Prowess. Hell's Kitchen Demon's Night by NextPX. Cucina Lo Chef by Sandbricks. Pressure Cooker by Chronic Spartan. And that was our honorable mentions in the Yes Chef Hell's Kitchen Game Jam. Whew. And we're back. All right. Lot of fun things going on in those. We're gonna just have this video looping for a bit. Talk about these games some.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. So, Alex, I have notes, right? I have
Uh-oh.
literal actual notes, not
Okay.
not negative notes, but good positive notes. So if
Sure.
you don't mind, this is one of the a lot of folks like this last time that we did a game jam, and I'm hoping that people are still on board. They want to see what's going on. So I'm going to go with these in order. Could you pause the video for me real quick,
You want me to
just to
start at the first one?
yeah, well, the Beyond Cuisine, I remember that. So just go ahead and pause it here at
Sure.
Kitchen Rush Hour, Mastering Kitchen, and I want to read off my notes. So, in order to help people who are in these game jams, who are in the honorable mentions category, right? I think that our goal is to try to boost those people from honorable mentions into top 10. They want to know how they can get there. And so I'm going to give the notes that I took specifically in this game jam as one of those judges and give those to you. So if you're watching later on youtube.com and you're trying to figure out, why was I not top 10?
Sure. Let's skip
And
to the
just keep
honorable
in mind
mentions
that,
then, because we're in the
yes.
top 10 right now. So let me.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. And then as we revisit the top 10, I've also got those notes for how we can take the quality of those games and push you closer towards number one, and even further than that. Sometimes the games that come in through here, of course, there's a limited time frame to develop them, right? So how do we make those things into high quality games that are going to just be great to play, regardless of whether they're submitted for Game Jam or not?
Mhm.
So you're on the honorable mentions already, Alex.
Yep. Actually, I can just play the whole playback video of just each honorable mention. So let me throw that up there. Uh, so yeah, first we've got honorable mention. Open up Cooker here. So this is
All right.
OG Shakespeare's game Cooker.
Okay, so on first impression, some of the really good things that I liked about Cooker, and I'm doing this one off memory, not off notes. I do have notes for Cooker as well. Um, Cooker is one of those experiences where just on the display picture alone, it felt like there was a level to this game, right? Like, and by that I mean they did well on the art. You can see it here, Shakespeare's fabulous nachos, and you see some of those arts in the background, and they're very pretty. And I appreciated the fact that you put some extra effort into the visuals of the game because quite honestly, some of the experiences that were submitted for this game jam, you could feel that they were working off of the template and going from there, which is fine. That's great. But in order to get into the top echelon, the top group of players, you want to take it to sort of another level. So the things that I wrote down for Cooker specifically is on the video here, you can see there's a sort of a line going up right there. They deliver the food to the line that people are coming into the restaurant presumably, and then they're getting their order before they get to the front of that line, and they come in one at a time. So I wrote down here, liked what you did there, as though I would have made the in-house line a bit longer, so the way that counter comes towards the front there. And then I said, and the delivery distance should be a bit shorter. So instead of grabbing the materials from this side, can we deliver it on a shorter distance to allow for a higher volume of play, a faster pace? Um, I said, and keep the player behind the counter instead of in front of it. Let me direct the kitchen from behind instead of ordering like it's from Subway. And if you're familiar, if you live in America, which OG Shakespeare does, Subway's a restaurant chain where when I go into a Subway, I'm on the opposite side of this glass, not where the chefs are, right? And I'm saying, I want tomatoes and I want, some pepperoni and I want some onion on my sandwich. And then the order comes out at the end of the counter. And I felt like that's sort of what's going on here. We're ordering our parts and then we're grabbing the ingredients from the other side of the counter. But as a chef in the Yes Chef Game Jam, I was looking for how can I be the chef? How can I direct the chefs one way or another? I want to be behind the counter to do the work. And then a small thing, but something that I noticed immediately, and you may not see this in the video, is that from right here on the scene, if you just turn the camera to the left even more, past that past that service counter, the wall is literally not there on the restaurant. So you
Oh,
can see cars that are driving up for delivery service,
It's an open
And
air restaurant.
it just sort of took me out of it, I guess, because it wasn't an intentional design, but really just a lack of time. So while the arts were great that were on the right side wall, and the logo and all that sort of stuff was great, on the left side wall, the time that they spent on the right got offset by the restaurant just being incomplete. So um, what I'm focusing on here to take this to the next level, to take it into the top 10, is making sure that the fundamentals of your game are great and that they are complete and that they are finished. The gameplay has to be really solid. And then beyond that, you can get into the fun stuff and the polish and that sort of thing. So I think that Shakespeare made a great game here. In fact, the gameplay loop is really good and it's playable over and over. And if with a little bit more development, you would take this working in the counter and you would slowly have the difficulty ramp up over time so that the player or the people who are coming into the restaurant come in at an increased pace. And if you're always working behind the counter and not having to walk around, it would facilitate that a little bit better. So you would get really good uh, gameplay loops out of the game. Even as it's designed right now, you sort of get really good gameplay loops, but you want to make it so that the user has less friction to take it into the top 10.
All right.
That is all. No notes.
No, no, no. It's just a few notes. Um, yeah. No, I mean it looks great. I've been to many a Mexican restaurant, a whole bunch in Texas. I used to live there, and this feels like home to me. I used to when I was in college. I actually worked the Mexican part of the cafeteria at my school. So I was the person. I wasn't the person like cooking, grilling the chicken, cooking the ground beef. I was the person assembling the tacos and the nachos and the burritos, and this is home.
I gotta go to Alex's house now.
I
You know
I do
this guy can roll a burrito.
I roll a pretty good burrito, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do actually cook the meat now, and I do say it is pretty tasty.
Rolling the
Um,
burritos is a skill, Chad. If you don't know, they're tough.
it's an important skill. Yeah.
It's the most important, I think, for sure. I've seen
um,
people roll burritos and you try to eat it and like the sauce is dripping out of the bottom. Mm-mm,
mm,
no.
no. Uh, Something that would be interesting to see in this game also is maybe having as Joe was talking about, possibly having it increase in difficulty more as the game goes on. You could introduce more lines coming up to the counter because you've got kind of this conveyor belt system going where uh, the food is going down the counter, so that way customers coming up, you don't have to wait for them to get all the way to the end of the counter. You're able to eliminate them more quickly by the food sliding down to them. So it'd be interesting to have to manage multiple lines, maybe going at different speeds or something. There's all sorts of different ways that you can do this. There's such a limited time for the game jam, and I'm always thrilled to see when game jam competitors take what they started with in the game jam, take that feedback, integrate new ideas, integrate new mechanics as new features become available in the game maker, and keep leveling that game up and keeping it current with the current version. It's exciting to see games that have been around for a while come back with new stuff, and that's pretty easy to do with the way the sandbox is set up for publishing. So, good job, Shakespeare. We're gonna move on to Pressure Cooker. I don't have the name for this one right in front of me. I don't remember who made this. By
All
Chronic
right. So in
Spartan.
in pressure cooker, it's actually interesting because this is the very first game that I play tested, and I found out as I was continuing that my notes on this weren't entirely at the fault of the dev in a way. So initially, you can see as the player is developing that and I found this out later, that they are developing using most of the assets that were in the template. And at the top of this game jam, I load this up and I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is pretty nice visually, right? It's doing all the right things. It does have that theme of a proper kitchen. It looks good. And you can see that the demons' orders are coming in and they are, in fact, randomized. And so, we checked all the boxes here when it comes to this game. And that's good. As a first time developer, of course, you want to check all those boxes. And maybe this isn't your very first one, but just as an example for the people watching. But the things that I noted, I wrote very much themed after Hell's Kitchen with a nice design focus, right? You can see that here in the video. Making of the rice was a bit confusing for me, however, because at the very top of the video, you see the player picks up the pot, you place it on the oven. Okay, cool, makes sense. But you grab the rice box, which is this sort of orange box in the middle of the, and you'll see them do it here right now. Boop, and we drop the rice in there, right? But the rice goes in white as rice. And so what I had done is I was like, pot, place, rice in, rice is white, must be done. And I picked it up right away. And I literally was like, why is this rice not ready right away?
This rice is
Now,
raw.
the rice could have, of course, taken time to cook, yes, but I see rice in pot, rice is white, rice is done because only rice went in. And it turns out that when the rice is cooked, suddenly, visually, the rice gets peas and carrots in it. And my brain went, what? Because I didn't put peas and carrots in the rice, but it's very colorful when it's actually cooked. And that's not particularly on a fault of the dev, but this is something where when I was playing this, it didn't make sense for me. And why is that? Because my brain thought if I'm the developer and I understand what Gordon Ramsay's IPs make, if I understand what Hell's Kitchen cooks on the show, your rice doesn't have orange things in it ever. It just doesn't. Alex and I literally we were sharing memes back and forth last night of me talking about this, but the rice would just maybe have some green stuff in it, but only once it hits the plate and not when it's in the pot. And again, this is part of the template, right? This is part of the template that that pot when it cooks the rice makes it with color in the pot. But for me, if I'm getting into top 10 and I'm paying attention to the minutia, then it's not getting that color in the pot. In the pot, it's just what it is. Or I'm adding more ingredients to make that make sense. Um, and it's a very small thing, but literally the end of my note says, without the colorful rice, um, came out of the pan is all white, then turned to colorful rice, parenthesis, which was a weird choice, but sure. Then I could have better understood that it wasn't cooked rice. So yeah, I would think that going in, you know, if we're going to have different animation cycles for different phases of the food, then I would have animated it to be boiling at first, just like continue to be boiling, like boiling water when I put the rice in. And then the finished animation, when it sort of poofs, it can be whatever you like. And then I would have known we're still working on this. It's not finished rice. And it's a very small thing, but every single dish that we produce here pretty much has that rice. So it becomes a bigger thing when, and again, it's part of the template, but it takes you from just using the template level, which could potentially get you into honorable mention, up to the top 10 level by adding the different art design in there.
Yeah, I think it's important to always be communicating what's going on to the player, because, like you said, there could be a cooking animation. Without something like that, uh, how do you know if it's done? You don't know what that done state looks like compared to where it's starting, unless you have a super high fidelity thing, where if this is kind of zoomed out. If it was a real close up, and could you distinguish between uncooked rice and cooked rice when they're just white? I trying to think of how you would do that with voxel art. It's a little bit challenging. So having something where uh, you've got like a cooking timer, or a little animation that pops up when it's done, just something to convey to the player that the state of this thing has changed, is very important, and really makes these games more attractive to players. One of the things that makes cooking simulator games and farming simulator games so replayable and so like soothing is that constant little ding, this is done. It makes it gets the player's brain excited about what's going on. They feel like they accomplished something. So having those little reminders that something's finished, that something's complete, um, just makes the player feel good, and it conveys that message to them that they're ready to move on to the next step, while also making them feel satisfied with the thing. Because we can't smell the rice, we can't taste the rice, so we got to be able to see the rice, and it goes for all the other stuff. Whether you're chopping lettuce leaves, cooking a piece of meat, having some little shiny reminder is really going to increase player satisfaction on a game like this. All right, let's move on to Daredevil's Kitchen, and I'll have the name for that one in a second.
No, that was it. It's Daredevil's Kitchen.
I meant the
I got the,
who made it. I don't have the
oh,
list in front of me.
oh.
I'm trying to remind people what the names are, but um, I have to pull up the right document here. All right, Daredevil's Kitchen by Happy Team.
Okay.
Got any notes for us,
So
Joe?
my notes on this were a little bit longer, but um not really bad. It seems to me that it's mostly an order of operations issue that hit me on this one, because my notes say that there wasn't really a clear direction. So right away, as soon as I started, and this was this was mid to late in my testing of these games. So I had a familiar understanding by this point of exactly what you guys were seeing in the template. And to its credit, this doesn't, it uses some of the templated assets, but it's definitely varied. And I really appreciated that. But there wasn't a clear direction. So I tried to cook fries. Then I talked to the guy who told me to try to cook fries after. I put I recommend it here. Put the tutorial right in the way. Like literally stop the player from being able to do the thing until after they've done a tutorial, or like as a part of the tutorial. And then order times aren't long enough to match the cooking times. At least I felt like that. So an order would pop up from the requests, and you can see those right there in front of you. But they felt really rushed, right? I wanted to see a longer period to being able to do that, and a clear indicator of how long I had to do so. Um, Let me see here. The tutorial did not include plating or tray stations or how to find and make chicken. Um, so it's really just a small thing that I think if we start from the very beginning on onboarding the player into how to make this game operate as expected, then you're going to smooth out the entire process. Because on the good things, um, you can see all the ingredients right in front of you, right? When we complete a part of the dish, you're getting the check marks. You already know what we need to put on the plate. The plate serves out to the customer. It looks really good. I like that a lot. But the small thing, art design. I cooked chicken. I did do that. But it now, after having cooked the chicken, as mentioned, for like the time on how to do these orders, I cooked the chicken, and the order changed to steak and fries. And there wasn't a like really obvious thing that said it had changed to steak and fries. There wasn't like a oh or like a person behind the counter who had a text bubble pop up that said I did it wrong. And I think that would help along the way. If you're going to basically the ways to make this great, the tutorial needs to force me to do absolutely everything at least once, and then take me into service of the customer and show me a customer behind that counter, not just the order, somebody who has a clear timer for that. And once all those are all done, then yeah, I wrote good kitchen, solid mechanics, but just needs more time on the order requests to get into the top for me. So I think it was really good. Like you could take what is built here, make those slight changes, and probably get a lot of people to just play it on the Sandbox game map. And as an honorable mention, the great thing is you have an opportunity to do that. So take that, run with it, publish it with these changes and adjustments. I think we'll get a lot of players.
All right. Next, we've got Hell's Kitchen Demon Knights by Next PX. Looks like we've got a multiplayer one here.
All right, yeah, Demon's Night. Um, there were definitely some creative things happening. Um, however, there were a couple of little drawbacks here in this experience that I felt could have been improved. The first and probably most important one, as I'm looking through my notes, is that when you played through Demon's Night, there was this really sort of interesting breaking of the norm in a good way, in that you would finish your cook in Demon's Night, you'd finish your day, and you would go into the Demon's Night. And in the Demon's Night, there were ghosts and ghouls and goblins and whatever, right, attacking the restaurant, which subverted expectations in a really good way. And it made it quite interesting. However, that only happened once in Demon's Night. So it said if there were multiple serving days, maybe the demons make more sense. But as it is, it's just taken time away from your work where you could have refined the presentation of the kitchen and made the multiplayer more solid. So in Demon's Night, one of the drawbacks that, as I recall, is that when we were playing this all together, there wasn't too much of an incentive to really do this thing in multiplayer. There would be or could be a person who was in the kitchen and they did all the kitchen functions. And of course, this was designed intentionally. You wanted to make sure that I'm guessing that even though the video shows two people, for the most part, it seemed like it was designed for one player. Because you would be in the kitchen and you could take a dish out to the tables, and what we did in our playtest was we had two people out on the floor, like where the customers are, and they were taking orders basically. But the orders weren't randomized. So you would walk up to a table, and the same people always wanted the same stuff. And they would make a request for what they wanted. And you can see that here in the video. And you would take this order back to this table. Now the order has presented itself, right? Order number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there were just 6 orders, and they were all unique and different. Um, so one person could be out on the floor pulling all these orders, or the you could do it together. But beyond that, cooking the dishes didn't really require multiple people. So if you really were playing this with multiplayer intent, um, which we track if it's submitted as multiplayer or single player, so that we know how many people are going to play and play test together on any particular game. Basically, we had one person in the kitchen, or well, two people in the kitchen in reality, but two people in the kitchen cooked all the orders, and two people were outside delivering the orders. And once it was done, the people in the kitchen never got to experience the show floor, like where the customers are ordering, because we went through the cooking phase, we went through the delivery phase, and then we had this interesting sort of demons are taking over the kitchen phase, and then the game just said victory, right? And so what I was looking for there was the demons phase happens, we make our way through that, and then the difficulty turns up a little bit and we go again. And expecting that to happen over and over until we can't go again, until we do lose. And if we do lose, maybe not see a defeat screen. Because in a multiplayer game in particular, I would recommend you never see a victory or defeat screen, but rather you make reset conditions for the game, so that players aren't all kicked out of the server. But overall, I wrote, it doesn't feel random as one of the requirements of the event, and that hurt quite a lot for me personally. I want to make sure you check all those boxes, and if you're not checking all the boxes, then your score is definitely going down. I said there's some creative things happening here. I feel like the demon mechanics after serving the restaurant were overcomplicating things a little bit because the restaurant mechanics were already good. So if you just put that in a gameplay loop, day one, day two, then it's great. You can keep it in a demon sort of theme if I'm just serving demons instead of serving humans. Um,
Oh,
but the
little Spirited Away thing going
yeah,
on.
right, yeah, make it Spirited Away. I said, but as it is, it's just taking time away from your work to add the demons, where you could have refined the presentation of the kitchen and made the multiplayer better. So overall, you know, the once again, the value of the criticism isn't to actively dissuade, but to help make the quality of your product better. Because with each one of these critiques, the interest is you take those critiques, you go back in the game, and you refine it, and then you publish it. Because in publishing, on the map at Sandbox Game, there is a sort of a rewards program that exists out there where the number of people who play your experience relates, um, and gets you a portion of a prize pool at the moment. So hopefully, when you're hearing this, thinking about the demon mechanics or however you want to refine it, um, you take those and you do those refinements so that you can get in to part of that prize pool.
I think the
But you can
builder's
see the demons.
challenge.
Oh yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I think the builder's challenge is finished for the moment, but there are definitely plans for it to come back with new iterations. So, and this
Oh, thank you.
it's always going to be good to have a portfolio of stuff, whether you have something live right now for some event, or you have something that could potentially be live for some other event, or to show a potential client if you're looking for to build for somebody, you can show them what you can do. So having good projects under your belt is a great reason to join a game jam, to just have a variety of objectives to complete, and then be able to say, hey, look at all this stuff I can create.
Yeah, and this is the part of the game that I was talking about where it gets sort of conclusive. Is despite the fact that you successfully fought off the demons have now taken over the restaurant, and it ends the game here at this point. Um, which again, we want to try to build in repeating loops and keep people in your game, enjoying your game, and having fun with those gameplay loops. So I felt like the demons, you focused on those here, which is fine, right? At its base. But the core mechanics that were requested weren't focused on as much as this extra stuff, which, again, uh, sometimes we develop for us, sometimes we develop for the game jam requirements. And it felt like you wanted to make a cool demon game, which is a great thing. So what I would do is just take all of the stuff in the kitchen and turn it into demon stuff. Take the customers, make them demons, and then you're going to end up with something that's maybe more enjoyable for you as a dev, and you're going to have more fun with it. But for the core that it is, it was the base gameplay loops were good and just needed to be repeated and increase their difficulty.
All right, up next we've got The Chef by B Team.
Which one did you say? B chef?
B Chef. BE.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Like go be a chef, but then the team is
Yes, yes.
B team with just the letter B.
All right. So the notes on this one weren't overly complicated. I think it what we ran into here is, and you can see sort of in the video, is as I mentioned, we were doing these tests. This is another multiplayer experience. So when we did the multiplayer experience, we had 4 people concurrently just on the council team that were testing the multiplayer side. So there were 2 people in each kitchen going through. And when you increase the scalability of an experience, because you do have it in multiplayer, you have to consider that there could be up to 20 concurrent players in your space, which, you know, sometimes that might mean that they're spectators. Sometimes it means that all 20 of you, too many cooks in the kitchen, you know what I mean? But for this particular game, there was not enough clothing for all the chefs. Um, so right away, one person could go into the space and you could pick up your outfit and you could put on your outfit. But those items in the game maker can be set to be pickable by anyone and everyone. So that would be a thing to adjust right away. So everybody gets a chef's outfit. Everybody feels like they're playing and enjoying the thing. On the other side of the screen, you can see here in this video that if you want to make a dish, then you start each component and you place it on these long steel, this dark gray prep tables. However, on the red side, there were no prep tables to stage your food. There was no way to actually complete the recipes on red team. So if this was a competitive experience, which, you know, PandaPops is one of those testers that was testing with me. She's ultra competitive as a player.
Not at all.
Uh, no, definitely not competitive, but legitimately, she was like, "How do you do this? What's going on?" The menu's up the top, very clear on how to make a dish. It shows you at that sort of light tan sort of bar way up above the cook station does show you how to make everything, but it was literally impossible to make these foods on the red side because there was no prep station. So I said all quests for equipping clothing do not clear upon equipping the clothing. So on the right side of the screen, there was a quest that requested, and I'm guessing that this video was recorded in a single player test instead of a multiplayer test because those don't clear. Um, and that resulted in I could not start the quest when ready as asked by the quest givers. So between both kitchens, there's a person who says, "When you're ready, talk to me and we'll get this quest going." But because I couldn't complete the equip the clothing quest, I was never ready according to the game logic. So these are it's really just small things. Um it's little polish things that would have taken this to that next level. Cloning the kitchen on the other side so that we can be competitive, making sure that that works. In terms of the way that the kitchen is laid out, I like that a lot. I like the way that the recipes worked. Um, and then one of the other small things that I can remember feeling but didn't write down as a note was that the recipes must be done exactly in order, and there was no way to clear a failure. So, what I probably would have done would be to include like a trash can that you could pick up and move to the table, the prep station over there, just to like say, oops, I got the wrong ingredient here, or I wasn't trying to make that one right now. Because I found myself accidentally making like recipe number 2 got started on one of the prep stations, but I needed recipe number 1 because somebody walked past with the rice or whatever. And it did become I had to complete the entire recipe and then throw that thing out instead of just being able to clear the table and go, oops, okay, whatever. And we fixed that. So if we want it to be a multiplayer experience, clearing the table is essential because you want things to go high speed. You want it to be competitive. Who can get the most points out there on the floor? You can see here on the left, it has red team points and blue team points. Um, so that's what we were doing. We completed the experience, and myself and another tester were like, "Yeah, we got 40 points. We served out the 4 dishes," and the other team was like, "Well, we got 0 because we couldn't figure out how to cook." And we switched sides, and it was clear that there was a balance issue for sure. But anyway, the core components, great. So you take these core components and you apply these changes that we're talking about here, publishing that, you've got a game that I think people can enjoy. And the visuals are nice. The kitchen is nice and big without being too big, and the restaurant portion was also quite good, in terms of understanding what the customer wanted was pretty clear. Um, I would like to probably, if I'm taking it to the next level, I would like to see those orders coming into, like, you take them out on the floor and then you see them somewhere in the kitchen at the same time.
And just as I'm watching the video, just something to point out, and Joe kind of touched on this a little bit, is make sure that you test before you submit your game as finished for a game jam. Make sure you take time. Make sure you leave yourself time uh, for testing and corrections before those last few days of the game jam, before the submission deadline, because um, as Joe mentioned, like the red team didn't have those prep tables, but we can see them in the video. So that means that probably at some point those tables were there, whether they accidentally got removed. You can see them right here. Whether they accidentally got removed, or maybe the version that was shared to the Game Maker gallery was not up to date with the latest version that the creator had made. Because when you publish a game to the gallery, it's kind of frozen in that state, and you can keep on working on your game and work and save and work and save and work and save. The version that's on the gallery is not your latest save; it's the version that you shared to the gallery. Same thing is true for the sandbox map. Once you publish your game to the map, you have to close the experience if it's already been launched. You have to close your experience and then relaunch it. And it's 2 buttons. You close and then launch, and that will bring it up to date with the latest version, the latest saved version of that game. And so if this had been previously shared to the gallery before the red side was done and then this video was made, that might be a reason why the red team didn't have the prep tables during the judges play, or possibly something got messed up and a broken version got shared. So always make sure when you're ready to submit that you test it where the judges are going to be playing it. And in the case of most of our game jams, we're playing them from the Game Maker gallery. At some point in the future, we may do landowner game jams where you have to share it to the live map to play. That may or may not ever happen, but just be aware of that. That you want the judges to be playing the finished, correct version of the game, so that way they have the best interaction possible with that. Another reason to share it to the gallery is so you can share it in that multiplayer environment, because like Joe said, the quests were not completing, and we can see from the video here that there was only one player. So it's possible that this was being played in the test environment of the game maker, which single player mechanics will work correctly in the test environment. But then if you then publish it to a multiplayer version, you may end up with some compatibility issues where single player mechanics don't work the way you expected them to, because now it's actually multiplayer. So just be sure that you're always testing it the way you expect the players to be playing it to get the most accurate gameplay. And hi, Panda. Panda just
Welcome to the
popped up
chat.
in the chat. All right, that was B Chef. Now we've got Cucina Lo Chef, or Chef. I think it's Italian. I think I'm saying that right. Cucina. By Sandbricks.
Okay. So I've got pretty short notes on it, but you may be able to see them in the video. Before we get to the notes, there are lots of I think, good bones to this game. Okay. The first is, as you see, we're walking from chef to chef in the kitchen. You've got these sort of pop ups that are happening for each chef. These are unique stat features like Alice here. Alice has a certain amount of energy. They've got a happiness for the quality of their work. They've got uh, an efficiency rating, all separate ratings based on what they've done and how you, as the kitchen manager, have managed the chefs. Then you make a selection for your orders based on how the status is of the chefs in your kitchen. I thought that was really good. Really, really good idea. However, with those things in mind, when we do select a food, I felt like this is in the notes here. Efficiency requirements may be too high to complete the second task. So we can do the first task just fine, but the second task, as you go through, my cooks literally didn't have enough energy motivation to uh to be able to do the second cook. So given that, for the most part, you are a kitchen manager, um I'm I wasn't seeing a lot of like activity. You could, that little ghost that just came into the Lucas character here, right? It decreased their motivation as a worker, which decreased their ability to cook. And I couldn't get a second cook there. And then I wrote, not much to do as the kitchen prepares the orders, and not much visually to make up for that lack of activity. So, what I would have liked to see as well was, yeah, I'm going to pick an order, I'm going to manage my chefs. But as I'm picking an order, the chefs got to go to work. You know what I mean? The chefs have to be chopping, they got to be stirring, they have to be doing a thing that starts as a result of me selecting the cook that got started. So the ghosts always or seem to be continuing to come out, unrelated to the the task. I could be wrong about that as I'm rewatching the video now. But I wrote, it doesn't feel like I'm managing anything, nor is anyone working, and that's entirely to do with the art direction, right? Um, the the main character also had some animation issues that you can see here in the video. As we move from place to place, eventually they sort of look like Mario when they're jumping, but just floating across the floor. Um, so I seeing that a little bit more polished, I think is going to help you take that to the next level. So if we again add activity in the kitchen, get these chefs really working, not just being the sort of pop-ups for their statuses. I understand the logics could be pretty complicated to make those display boards, but get them animating when it's time to cook, and reducing the requirements for the cook will help a lot in where this goes. And then as a finished product, taking the the foods as they are done. You see your chefs doing the work, take your foods out to the customer out on the floor, or at least to that counter as a finished product, to keep your kitchen management there. Then over time, you can increase the speed requirements for having to pump these things out, once you have those balance checks finished.
Yeah, I can see based on what I'm seeing in the game, there's already some logic for getting the emotional reaction out of the chef. So you see that Alice was crying there for a second. You see some of them have done like a little victory punch, other reactions in there. So it definitely is kind of already worked in the logic. These are animated characters. So instead of having them go back to kind of an idle position when they're given an assignment, you want to fire off a message that makes them start doing some cooking animations. I think I'm not sure if there's like a chopping animation, but there are like different. There's some spell casting animations where the hands are kind of moving around, and of course these are NPCs, so you can unlock them and modify them with different animations if you need to. And I know there's people in the community can help explain that. I believe it's documented on the docs.sandbox.game, our our documentation for the entire game maker should have some information on how to do that in VoxEdit. So yeah, getting some animations in there and using the same kind of behavior with the workstations to have some pots and pans. You could show them bubbling and shaking and stuff. We'll just give that, like I said for
Yeah.
the previous game, giving that player feedback of like something's happening here. There's some
And
feeling of completion. It gives the player the happy feeling that chef has when they successfully cook their recipe.
yeah, and it's actually interesting that you mentioned pots and pans because despite the fact that in real life, pots and pans stacking up is not great, in a video game, if you had completed dishes and pots and pans were stacking up, you could almost see that as a type of like a trophy,
Yeah,
a way to test a metric of how many times did I complete these dishes? How well am I doing? Look at my giant stack of pots and pans,
yeah.
right? And
You got
so
all
if you
these
had
little
a cleaning
pans hanging on the
station,
wall, but they're not
yeah,
getting used.
right. And the same thing, the cleaning station in the middle could really just be stacking up very slowly with pots and pans that are coming together. And like eventually they start to heap or whatever, right? That shows your progress as you're going.
Mhm.
And so combining the animation work with the progression shown in the game would have taken this really to a much higher level than just honorable mention. But honorable mention, of course, is great. Um, you did take it into a very interesting space by having these emotion logics and that sort of thing in there. So appreciated that quite a lot.
Yeah. And you could definitely up the humor by having some dishwashers in the middle freaking the heck out as you get better and better at the game.
Ah!
Yeah. All right. And now we got our last one, which is Hell's Burgers by Pixel Prowess. Our last honorable mention, I should say. One last reminder, we do have a giveaway form in the chat. I'm going to share the link one more time. If you're viewing on Twitter, uh, then you should just be able to see it in the replies to the stream. We're giving away Wizzy the Orange's Singed Hat. So if you don't have that already, sign up for that. You could win.
All right. So Hell's Burgers, for me personally, and this didn't happen with every judge. This is one of the single player experiences. But the biggest thing that hampered Hell's Burgers for me was the tutorial, which is, of course, you as the dev, as you go through and you play test these things in the game maker directly, maybe this didn't happen to you. Maybe um, everything worked perfectly smoothly in the game maker. But this is why we should do what Alex was recommending earlier and publish them to the game maker gallery and then playtest them with a secondary account. For years I've tried to recommend this to folks who are developing because this is the quote that I wrote down. When you try to grab a burger, the game kills you and respawns you back in the lobby where one would select tutorial or start or shop. So it had three different options right away. The tutorial should be automatic. So in this game or experience, in order to do the tutorial, you have to actually walk up to somebody who is on the left side, or you could start the game by walking up to somebody who is in the center, or you can go to the shop on the right. But the tutorial should be automatic as part of the gameplay. Um, Automatic slash skippable, right? Where we start the game and someone's there to talk to, the same NPC we would have done to start. They say, "Do you want to do the tutorial? Yes or no?" Instead of having this sort of like an object that we walk up to select tutorial. So we guarantee that we could do that. And then I also wrote, if anything, on the center icon might make sense. So instead of walking to the left to do the tutorial, the front and center easiest, fastest path to get there should always be the tutorial if you're going to make someone manually select the tutorial in that way. Um, and then as a result of the burger, in my case, always killing me when I grabbed the burger, I ended up quite frustrated just trying to make an order happen in this case.
It's the heart
So
attack
this
burger,
is
isn't it?
it's literally a heart attack burger. And you can see, the way that the gameplay is playing out here in the video. And, of course, we get these videos as testers as well. So we could see, like, oh, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not doing it the way that the the dev intended. Um, and sometimes you get those back and you can sort of just push through and get on to the next thing. But for me personally, the burger literally always killed me, and so I couldn't do the tutorial, and that really dropped the points for me on this one. I think at its core, the mechanics were strong. I probably would have slightly adjusted the way the animations for everything go. Right now, your animation speed is set to default for how we're assembling things, which means you were destroying or in game mechanics sort of killing these objects, and you can set those those kill commands to a -2 timer, so they don't do the blinking thing, and they just disappear and appear on the asset that you're trying to move them to. So if you do that, that's going to help sort of refine it a little bit. But overall, you know as the video is shown, I think you score quite a bit higher. So the core thing that I would do or what I would recommend for you, is that when you do submit for your game jams, whether you're the dev here or you're anybody watching in the chat, you load it, you upload it to the game maker, and you load it in the game maker, um, the gallery side, and then probably all of these things would have gotten fixed. You would have seen the logic issue, and gotten a much higher score. I
Yeah.
would say, out of a total potential for, what is it? I think 22 points. Um, you probably would have added 5 points to your score just by doing that, just by seeing it and going, "Oh, this is broken a little." Okay.
Yeah. I One thing that Joe mentioned, and I want to just kind of explain why is testing with another account, not the account that created. Um, I haven't seen this be as important as it used to be, but I still think it's a good idea in practice to do this. Testing with another account will make sure that any weird permissions on like visibility of assets on the marketplace, things like that. It'll make sure that you're playing exactly the same way any other player or a judge will be playing it. Because if you're playing from your own account and you've made assets, you've uploaded assets to your account, if you have done something to like hide those assets from the marketplace, or if you've uh, done some edits to those assets and then like re-uploaded them, or maybe even like deleted those assets, uh, any weird situations that can cause will show up when you're testing with a secondary account that doesn't own the game and doesn't own the assets, more likely than it will show up in the account creating it. And we've done a lot with the game maker and the dashboard to improve that so that way it's more consistent. But I still think it's a good best practice to either make a second account for yourself to test, or get some friends who have separate accounts who can test, just to make sure that all the bases are covered, that you are definitely playing this the same way any other player is going to play it, and that you don't have any special access by being the creator that's letting you slip by some errors that might occur.
Yeah, and I can think of one very specific thing that pops up, um, and it's mostly related to internet connectivity. But if you want to optimize for all players, right? Maybe somebody who's on Wi-Fi, or somebody whose base internet speed in their country isn't like super fast, is that sometimes I'll load into an experience, and this wasn't the case here in this game, but I'll load into an experience where they have not preloaded their assets by sort of burying them underground, so that before they spawn, right, they've loaded in all their voxels. Um, and what happens is, when you go to trigger the asset by any type of code, a little purple question mark box pop up, and then eventually it turns into the thing that I want when it downloads. And those downloads sort of happen in real time. And it's sometimes that can sort of affect the way that the logic processes. And you never know this. You never see that as the original dev loading up your own game because you've already preloaded those assets. They're in your account.
Yeah.
But when you get the secondary account, you have to download everything that your main account had created. So it's a really good way to help do quality assurance for your own game.
Yep. Definitely. Um, yeah, clearing that cache and checking out with different profile. You can there's all sorts of different things that can pop up there. One thing I do want to commend though on this game specifically, these fries animating. I love this. The little baskets shaking, you see the fries moving inside.
Yes, I really
Uh,
like that too.
it's a good little animation and definitely gives that little bit of shiny. Ooh, I feel good about making those
Right,
fries because
right. And it's showing that the work is being done as well. So something we mentioned really early on, right? When I was talking about the rice on my very first thing that I was testing and I was hoping for it to be bubbling, that's that, but in fry version, right? The baskets moving shows me, okay, all right, we're cooking the fries. So that's really, really well done.
yeah. All right. Well, I think it's about time for us to reveal the top 4 games in the game jam. We're not gonna go through all the feedback live on those because they already got in the top 10, you know. But we do email this feedback from our judges to the game jam competitors if they want it. So be checking your email maybe like Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes it takes a couple days to send it all out. Just depends on how many entries there are. But you will be getting that feedback from the judges, and of course, you're always welcome to reach out to us. We love talking about this stuff. As you can tell, we've been talking about it for 2 hours already.
Right?
So we're always happy to answer questions, give feedback. Just reach out to us whether you see us on Twitter, reply to us on comments there, try to get a hold of us. Um, reach out to the council on Discord. We've got our own Discord server where we help people who have done game jam stuff do QA for publishing their lands. So you can always join that too. We're around, and we want to talk to you about your games because we're passionate about this. All right. I'm also going to be closing up that form, so get those entries in if you want to win Wizzy the Orange's singed hat. That form will be closing while these next videos are playing. And we're just going to play them one after the other here. Let me just get this queued up here real quick. But I'm going to be closing that giveaway form, and we'll announce the winner on that pretty soon. So get in there if you're not already. All right, you ready, Joe?
Oh, I'm ready.
All
Who's the
right,
top
let's.
four, Alex?
This is the
Top
top
four?
four.
Top
Four,
four.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
I'm seeing this in real time. And I actually don't know. I don't know who got in the top.
In fourth place, we've got Inferno Cook-Off by Sanja Studio. We'll give a little live feedback on these because these videos are about a minute long. This one,
I'm trying
I
to.
love the visual style of this game.
Yes, I'll tell the not only the visual style but the application of a finished dish. It's literally going to, you know, the Hellhound over here. The main character not being a default character helped a lot in terms of art direction. It also subverted expectations, and it had options for when I failed my dish. So there was a lot. I mean, the tornadoes that were happening here was a huge surprise because I'm like, there's no way that that I've got to deal with a tornado in the middle of my kitchen. But this was such an interesting thing because right away, as soon as I loaded in, I had to chuckle because it was Hell's Kitchen. You know what I mean? Like it was a very, very interesting and alternative direction. So that's great.
All right. Yeah, super cool style. And in third place, we've got Island Feast by Vox Machina Studios, who's in the chat with us. Congrats, Vox.
This one, this one was great, and you pointed out a thing that I uh, that I laughed about a little bit. One of the only notes that I could leave for this. Let me see if I can find my. This is a multiplayer, so that should help me a little bit. Island Feast. I wrote good arts throughout simplistic game design, but not a lot of reason why we can fall into the water, right? So that was a small thing, but um, it was an increase in the difficulty curve that was fine. It was fine. You know, that's fine. But I was writing these notes sort of live as I was playing. I said, I do like that there's a bit more of an arcade style gameplay, but I didn't love that despite the fact that there were teleporters in the game. You could steal entire dishes from the other team even when they were completed. So what is that? What was happening there? We're playing and PandaPops is like, tee, I need this whole thing. I know you just spent all this time cooking this food, but let me just take the whole dish away from you and go feed it to my guy over here. Which on the one hand, that's fun and interesting, but I was like, again, this is the way that my brain works. That added a layer of frustration for me where I was like, oh my gosh, if you touch another one of my dishes, I'm gonna freak out. And so it's fine. It's fine. But it immediately turned the game from me trying to cook to me wanting to just wait for Panda to finish cooking. So I could go over and be like, I caught it when it spawned. You got nothing. You did nothing now. But and then another thing that I noticed is that there is a bit of a lack of a tutorial. So I actually had a hard time figuring out how to open a coconut or like cook a coconut, I guess. So
there is a tutorial island. Was it not explained there, or?
It might have been, but here's the thing, and that's why I didn't take this down as a note. Tutorials are for losers, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not. We did not. We spawned in and went, how does this game work? Screw it, let's go. And so all four of us just dove in. And so there's a certain extent where, of course, you want to have a tutorial to teach people how to do stuff. And then there's the other side where you want the gameplay to naturally be able to guide you so that you don't need a tutorial. So I think that's, if full disclosure, we know that Vox Machina Studios is great. We know they've done great stuff. I saw right away that some of their NPCs, Vox Machina, CC&C, and I expected greatness, right? And as a result, we did see that greatness. But when we review these things, of course, we review them with sort of a clean slate, and we take them on their merits for what they are. So in terms of what pointage I gave this game personally, for me, this game was tied for the highest rated game in this game jam. I only gave one other game, which I sure hope shows up in these top four, this many points. So I think you did great. It was I gave a -1 point for the playability because I couldn't just automatically understand what's going on with the coconut, and the game design lost the 1 point because I didn't feel like I needed to get stuck in the water, I guess. What I would have probably done with the water differently is not had the ladders. I want to see, like, if you have the water, bring up a layer that's right up next to the water so I can fall in the water and it's a minor inconvenience. I like kick the edge of the ground and I jump up out of the water, and that would have made that a little less friction. Right now you've got 3 ladders on either side to climb up, which is, it's whatever. It's not too bad, right? Obviously you got a really, really good high score, but if we're going to take it from a really high score to AAA quality, that's probably the changes I would make.
All right. I love how cute this game is. I mean, Fox Machina Studios, they know what they're doing. We've seen them time and time again in these game jams and in events and stuff. Love the inclusion of it's raw from the giant that you're feeding there. Um, all right, moving on to our second place winner. And I apologize, I accidentally had it muted for our fourth place winner. There was music. We've got Indian Cooking Restaurant by PGV Lab. So this one was had a cool way to upgrade your restaurant as you go along playing. So you can see there's kind of like an empty spot in the wall on the left side that eventually you unlock a drive-through. So doing some interesting mechanics there with upgrading as you go along. Do you have any thoughts, Joe, on this one?
Well, yeah, we had, not only did you have progression in the service aspects of the restaurant, but you had progression inside the restaurant as well. So you can see next to like the naan station here in the video, or next to the tandoori chicken station, there are these sort of like little glowing elements. So you were able to have multiple cooking stations. You could have multiple curry stations. And I really like the fact that the in the restaurant customers, as they came up to the the checkout counter, those customers would, once you took their order and gave them that food, they would go to a table and start to manage this. So once again, playing this as a multiplayer focused game, it actually scaled really, really well in that way. At first, it's a little bit slow, and then you complete a couple orders and your people collect a little bit of money, and you can upgrade the restaurant, which starts to meet the demand of playing with a larger group of players, which I thought that's really, really nice. But so here are my proper notes for this. Nice progression, nice buffs. We see some good growth in the restaurant. What we're lacking is proper cooking elements from the competition requirements listed on the Sandbox website. So one of the reasons why I personally rated this down just a little bit, and this wasn't at that like first place level, is that specific thing. In the original post at sandbox.game, it did say that we should be constructing the dishes. So if I'm making naan, I need to be baking the bread. I need to be getting flour, bringing it in, getting some butter or what have you, and making the dough, and then have naan come out. So that would have met the requirements. But in terms of core gameplay loops, I think you've got a great game here. If I'm going to take this to 11, if I'm going to make this a top tier game, I would make the restaurant a little bit more visually interesting. But in terms of what this game jam wanted, I think you did great. You did exactly what, this is exactly what this stage would have requested. Over a couple of weeks to make this, you did a great job.
All right, and moving on to our first place winner. Great R Burger by Greater Works Studio. I love the idea of this being like the American version of Ratatouille.
Okay. All right. So, the Great R Burger, for me, absolutely visually one of the most interesting games that was made. The scaling is so good and so nice to see. Of course, we're subverting expectations a little bit. You got some roaches feeding people burgers. Cool. We can enjoy the whimsy of it. But the scaling of the characters and the scaling of the assets that come together to make the burgers was very, very nice. So this is getting like exceptional marks for art along the way. But for me, there was a little bit of a miss in that, you could actually fall off of that counter really easily.
Mm.
So, if I was trying to assemble a burger and I was like, oh well, I don't want to stand right next to this grill, and so this part right there where you can sort of see the roach of colas, you can fall right off. And so I would have put an invisible wall there, which I almost never recommend. Chat knows this if you've seen me for a long time, but put an invisible wall up there so I can't fall off this counter. And then I wrote, second, you can lose the protein of your foods if you don't make the items top down as listed on the menu. So you can see the menu in the background, and this is great visual representation for how do I build these burgers, right? You got your customers have made an order, and you have to be building them top down. But the most efficient way to cook the foods is to start the protein first, because those things take time to cook. Everything else just gets picked up and put on. So so I said typically I would start the proteins, then start to build the sandwich. But if I built the sandwich protein first, the protein may disappear completely, which essentially makes you lose the whole order to the timer. A small thing. But if I was doing this for QA for traditional process, I would call that a blocker, because it does sort of break our ability to build that sandwich. And if I'm going to lose orders because I put the protein down first, then I don't know. I don't know how you build a burger at home, Alex, but I literally always
I don't usually hire
run.
cockroaches to do it, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're your friends. You've not seen Joe's Apartment? Is that what that's called? It's an old movie.
Joe's Apartment?
I don't remember. But literally, yeah, the main character is Joe.
Remind me to never eat at Joe's. I know we were talking about that.
That is the name of the movie. It's called Joe's Apartment. And the guy lives with roaches.
I know we were talking about eating at your place. How good that
yeah, the beef Wellington at Joe's Apartment, you know what I mean? No, it's the
only made by the
Joe's
most
Apartment
professional
movie
roaches.
made in 1996 says a guy just moved to New York and discovers that he must share his rundown apartment with a couple thousand singing, dancing cockroaches. So,
I remember that movie. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen it, but I remember like seeing a trailer for it or something and just going,
Yeah.
oh no. I've only seen a cockroach in real life like 3 times.
I think I saw one once, and it was really small.
Mm.
Like wait, wait. I had a friend who kept 2 as pets, which I thought was the most disgusting thing.
I mean, I guess if they're pets, they're not going to be as dirty as the ones like climbing through.
They had it in like
trash
a
and
little
walls.
plastic hamster cage thingy. 2 cockroaches, and I was still just like, ugh.
No, thank you.
They were big though, big ones. Yeah, Hank Hill, you like that? That's practice.
All right. Well, we're gonna try playing this. I wanted to point out that the thing with invisible walls, it's not so much that invisible walls are bad. They're not good in certain kinds of games. A lot of the games that people make in the sandbox are sandbox style games. Like Minecraft is a sandbox style game where the whole point is that you can go everywhere. And so if you're making an open world game where you can climb up things and jump on things and jump off things and swim under things, having invisible walls just randomly being in places can be frustrating, because you've got all this space to explore, and then there's a barrier that has no in-game reason to exist. And so while we may in the scope of a land might be limited in that we can only build the 96 by 96 meters or larger if you're using a multi-land space, having the game be set on like a floating island where you're not running into the edges, or having it be in like a cityscape where the buildings just kind of wrap all the way around, is a much more satisfying feeling of the game is containing you into a specific place for a specific reason, than it is to be like, oh, I've got this big empty plane, and then all of a sudden, like, what was the movie Ants? Since we're looking at bugs here, the movie Ants, when they try to eat the sandwich and it's in plastic wrap, and they're trying to eat the sandwich, but they're hitting this invisible barrier and they don't know what it is because they're ants. But you know, that's what it feels like as a player to like run into an invisible wall and just be like, oh well, I mean, it looked like I could go there. Why can't I? So in the context of a game like this, where all of the gameplay is on the counter, and there's no reason to jump down to the kitchen floor, except for the fact that you're a cockroach, and that's usually where you find cockroaches. You know, it would make a little more sense to have an invisible wall. I guess maybe the reason to not do it here is that it might make it harder to see the menu if the camera's in certain positions.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah.
But you can stand on this part of the counter and look right up.
Yeah.
I would say
it
even
might actually make it easier to see the menu.
Oh, if it
right?
pushed the camera,
Because it would push the camera forward and sort of zoom in. Huh. But that's a good thing to test, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing to test.
All right, I'm reading through this tutorial here. We got the preparation. Got burger buns. All right, so they want us to, but you know, we're not going to follow the rules. We're gonna run around first and check out what else is going on. So, something that I didn't really see in the video, so I wasn't able to put it in the cut. Look at this keyboard. Look how cute this is.
That's really well done.
We're just. Oh, not
One of the
L.
things that's unique about this dev is
W.
that it seems like all the assets that they make are scaled up like this. Like their entire sort of universe of games that they make, whether it's for game jams or otherwise, is made around these roaches. So one of the devs that not the devs, one of the testers that we had working on this, at least from the council side, they started playing this, and this is a single player experience, so we were playing these not together directly. They started playing as soon as they turned it on. They were like, I'm playing as a cockroach. And I was like, I know who made this game. I know exactly who made that game. I know how the art style is going to be. It's so consistent and nice. And you're going to love it, right? And sure enough, you know, they played through. They enjoyed it quite a bit. And it's funny. We actually have a hard rule that we aren't allowed to influence each other's scores. So I'm like, as soon as they say it, I'm like, nope, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Art's great. Enjoy it. Have fun. And like, I just love the fact that even the things, look at this, like the kitchen sink is designed, and gameplay loop, there's literally no reason to be here. There's no reason to be at the kitchen sink at all.
It's just extra.
Yeah, it's all extra attention to detail for something that, like, why can I swim in the kitchen sink? I didn't do this, Alex. I didn't even go to the kitchen sink.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna be the person who jumps in the kitchen sink and swim around.
Oh yeah, and it's really cool. And can you die? Can you die in the kitchen sink?
Yeah,
the roach.
I think so. I mean, we've got oxygen, so.
This is interesting. So if I'm doing QA, this is something that I would be testing. But a person wouldn't, the thinking person wouldn't intentionally die in the water. But the QA person, the QA side of
people don't think
says, we gotta do this. We gotta do what no one will do, because why would anyone do this? What happens? Thank you. There's no game over. That's what I would be checking for if I'm doing a QA test on this. Do I get a game over because I died in the sink? But really, just really, really nice. Good art, fun, full on Joe's apartment action with all these roaches trying to work this kitchen.
Now the funny thing to do would be in a future update, make these keys clicky clacky when you walk on them. You get a little tick sound effect.
That would be so difficult, right? Because each key would have to individually be an asset,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah, it would
when
be
you
a lot
walked
of
over
little
them
assets.
proximity-wise, they could drop.
Yeah, but I mean so it would be tedious to upload each and every one of these keys, because you know you got your 26 letters, 10 numbers, 30, 40, what's 50 something keys here, maybe 60.
Yeah, it's
What's the standard?
116, I think, is the standard keyboard.
Is it
116 keys. Yeah, because with the arrows and the all of that,
so.
the numbers, functions.
But you could easily make it sort of a template where, because we have the replace function in the game now, you could just set up one key and then duplicate that asset and replace it with the other key, and then you set up your whole keyboard. And this has nothing to do with the actual gameplay. This is totally a me thing of like, let's make this obsessive, goofy detail that's just gonna make somebody go and make like 10% of players who actually go over here go, ha ha ha, that's awesome. You could have it be an animation where it senses that the player has walked over it and animates the key dropping down and makes a clicky noise, and would theoretically put something up on the screen, although with the tools that we have available, that would be extremely difficult and impractical to have it actually type something out. But you know, you could have it show something. You could have an Easter egg if you typed something specifically very carefully. You could show something on the screen.
I'm seeing someone in the chat on Twitch say a great Easter egg. They said, "Don't press Alt F4." I'm thinking to myself, leave a static image up, then Alt F4. If you can do that in proximity, you know,
get a game over.
You don't get a game over, but like put something up on the screen, like have the screen only change if you Alt F4, and maybe it takes you to the desktop background of these roaches, you know, computer or whatever, and have a funny meme on the background.
Have a QR code for some special Easter egg giveaway.
Yeah, whatever you like to do. Like it's totally unimportant, totally like very few people are ever going to do it, but the one person who sees that you could clack those keyboard keys will definitely want to see something, you know, a little different there. And Easter eggs are always great. Easter eggs keep people coming back. Easter eggs get people talking about your game a year after you've already published it.
All right, speaking of playing games, let's play this game.
Make a burger. Yeah,
make a burger bun. Now, to the left of the preparation board, there are 6 ingredients: veggies, cheese, patties, eggs, bacon, chicken fillets. Go check them out. The ingredients that are marked by the arrow are veggies. After you've put the bun on the preparation board, you need to put the veggies on top of the bun before you add the rest of the ingredients. Put the veggies on top of the preparation board. So, yeah. What we all love to see is a cockroach climbing through your veggies. Man, I really want a burger with some nice crisp tomatoes and red onions right now, but not with a roach though.
You sure about that? I could add a little extra texture to your sandwich. Nope.
All right, gotta cook a patty. Love the effects for the cooking. We've got little steam coming up off the bun here, or off the patty. We've got little bubbling fat being rendered off into the cast iron skillet. We've got some blue flames under there. We're cooking with gas, folks. Cooking with gas. Actually, I appreciate cooking with gas as like a valuable way of doing it. You know, cost effective, good heating, all that stuff. But for me, it's all about that charcoal flame broiled burger.
Yeah. You know, something that I ran into. Don't judge me, chat. Don't judge me. But when I say this. So the other day, I did that very thing. I made on the grill some burgers.
Mhm.
And I'm notorious for when I cook anything on the grill, I gotta cook everything on the grill.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm pulling out hot dogs. I'm
It
pulling
takes
out
so
like
long to get the grill all set up and cleaned.
Yes.
Like you want to
Yes.
cook as much as you
Yes.
can right then, lock that
Yes.
smoky flavor into the meat,
Yes.
and have leftovers
Yes.
for a week.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
So I do this.
I'm right there.
Got burger. I make my burger, and then I'd say that the downside of grilling is that if you want to have complex flavors, I have a grill, of course, charcoal, but it's also like a smoker grill. So I'll mix it. Like I've got like cedar plank that I use, and I've got applewood wood chips that I'll throw down there on top of the coals, so that like that smoky flavor gets in there, and that's great when you're just eating the burger straight up. But secondarily, the burgers that I'm saving, I do not get to mix up that flavor later. And I used one of the most pungent flavors that I knew of, and it still got dominated. That pungent flavor being a Brunschwager, which is a type of like liverwurst. If you've ever had liverwurst, you know that it's beef liver and bacon and a few other types of proteins that are sort of processed down into a log of meat. And normally that's the only flavor you get when you eat it. And it's got some onion in there and all that. But when I put that on top of the grilled burger with the smoky flavor, nope. You literally couldn't even taste it. You couldn't taste liverwurst at all. It was just grilled smoked burger. So, there's some downside to it a little bit. Not much, of course. If when you're doing that, when you're on the grill, chef's kiss. Let's go. All day. But I made another thing that I think I saw it on like a TikTok or something. You know what I mean? I had and this is gonna blow your mind, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a s'mores, right?
Of course.
Familiar with the s'mores?
Yeah.
It's graham cracker, it's marshmallow, it's chocolate, it's graham cracker.
Yeah.
And don't tell PandaPops, but we use Hershey's chocolate here in America. Everywhere else on the planet, that's disgusting, but whatever. It's standard because it comes in little cubes and
Sure.
drop it down.
Yeah, I've had a proper
It's-
s'mores before.
A proper s'more.
Yeah.
The internet woke up my mind to a game-changing revelation of a s'more.
Okay.
Chocolate and Rice Krispie treat. That's it.
Ooh. That. I mean, they've already had Rice Krispie treats with chocolate on them. I guess it's kind of missing the graham. But you could
It's
probably
missing the
make.
graham, but
You could
the
make Rice
is
Krispie
the graham.
treats with. Hold on, I don't actually know the recipe here. Veggies. We do cheese before, I guess. And then what's the chicken sandwich? Chicken sandwich, veggies, and chicken patty. Oh no! Oh no, it's burnt! Ah!
Oh yeah,
Oh no!
I knew it would be. It's great.
Because I was busy looking up the recipes. I should have done that first.
See, this is
I was trying to min-max my time, and I was like 5 seconds too slow.
making two burgers at once does overcomplicate things, right? But not in a bad way. This is where the skill level is slowly ramping, and that's what helps take your game from that top 10 into number one, is that you have the ability to start with one burger and then get into two, because we know what we're doing. We know these recipes by heart by now, and it's sufficient. But the thing you were looking for, I think, is
Does it
the,
matter which one I give it to? Oh, order 1 and order 2. Order
Yep,
1
it
is the
does
chicken
matter, yeah.
sandwich.
Yep.
I figured it would matter. I wasn't sure how I could tell because I didn't see the sign yet.
I'm pretty sure that if you put it down in the wrong place, that it just doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah,
fail.
they probably go like, hey, there's a customer satisfaction thing. I also noticed our sanitary inspection grade is an A.
Oh,
which is great.
well, would you look at that?
We're doing good here.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I'm sure that the. I'm sure. It's funny that you say that because there's no chance that your sanitary inspection grade would be an A if you don't have a separate person cooking the proteins versus handling the veg, or a separate roach. You know,
right?
'Cause these roaches are picking up these
It's
things. with
cross
their
contamination
bare
all
roach
over the
hands.
place.
There's so much cross contamination. There's no chance that this is food safe. Get that.
Got it.
The real pro tip is that you don't have to carry the patty all the way there. You can just
I
drop
was
the patty in
wondering.
the air.
I was thinking that thing as I was carrying. I was wondering. This one has cheese. Cheeseburger is order 1.
Oh, you know what? You know what? In this game, I might be wrong about that.
I was wondering if I put
Walking
down the
on the
patty,
green-
if it would if
Exactly.
it would disappear or not.
It's
Which I
funny
could actually
because-
test by just cooking a third one.
It's true. As a roach, Rock 808's saying that walking on the patty might be unsanitary, but ironically, as a roach, if you're only walking on the clean countertop and you wash your little roach feet before you started doing the cooking, technically, you're probably cleaner than the counter. Like, it's probably fine. But, you know, obviously a person. You don't want to end up with be that guy from Burger King or whatever that was.
the feet lettuce guy.
Yeah, Burger King foot lettuce.
Bacon burger.
There we go. Yumali talks saying the roaches lick their hands clean after touching ingredients, so it's fine. Clean the little antenna. That's it, you know? No big deal.
Oh, I should have put the cheese down first, shouldn't I? Will it still work? Oh, it still worked. Whoa! Wait. What?
Well, you crafted the burger, and you got a free one. It's free. It's free real estate. You know, unlimited burgers. He just gets to keep that burger for later, doesn't
I
he?
guess. Yeah, it's the one's been sitting on the counter for an hour, under the heat lamp. Yeah, that's all good.
You know,
Okay, where's
that's
the
chef's
bacon?
burger.
Yes, yeah. Bacon burger is lettuce and bacon. Okay.
It's funny, we
Gotta
were
cook the
talking
burger.
about the Ramsey's Wellington. And,
Oh, I burnt the bacon.
You burnt bacon? That just sounds like good bacon.
I know, yeah.
Extra crispy.
Nah, there is a point where it's too far, but yes,
There is,
it does
that's
it does have to be extra crispy.
But
I'm gonna run out of time.
Mr. Ramsey
Wait, why
had
isn't this
mentioned
cooking?
that the beef Wellington. I don't know. I guess you don't have enough fire. You ran out of
What?
propane and
What?
propane accessories.
Wait, I don't know what just happened there, but I got a burger patty
Just
out of it. So.
Done. Cooked.
Oh no!
Easy.
I'm not gonna
Done.
get customer not satisfied. Oh well.
Done.
Classic burger. Easy.
They're not satisfied. You got 2 bacon burgers as well? Did that just happen?
No, that was the no. I mean, I didn't try. I might have.
I saw it assembled twice. I sure hope you did. It'd be fun.
Funny.
But
Just
the
save this for later. Yeah, I did. I don't know what's
Yep.
happening.
the
Just save
chef's
them for later.
choice, or the chef's serving of a Wellington, I found out thanks to one of Gordon's shows, is actually the end of a Wellington, or either end is the food that they may be eating while they are cooking, because you only serve it as like that round, puck like shape with the sauce, but you don't serve the ends, which I think that's kind of as somebody who's eaten one, the end is so good. It's so good.
I'm just
like,
getting double
oh,
burgers
more
left and
bread?
right.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's a
Hey,
two
that's
for
not my
one
order.
discount.
It's a.
Oh,
Oh wait,
did
it's
you
a
fail?
regular burger. It made a regular burger and a cheeseburger. I picked up the regular burger for some reason.
Oh, oh, it wasn't just a double order. Unlimited burgers. I didn't run into any of this. That's so funny.
I am
so
in
funny
a
that-
newer version of the Game Maker because there was an update.
Oh yeah.
So this was released on 0.9, so it is quite
Hmm.
possible. Grate our chicken sandwich is an egg. Okay.
Oh,
That
delicious.
burger's gonna be.
Put an egg on a burger. Take it from 10 to 12. You know, perfect.
Yeah, so you can't just drop the patties. You do have to bring them to assemble.
Okay.
Okay, grate our chicken sandwich, egg, veggies, cheese. And what? What? How did that cook so fast? I put that in after the egg, didn't I? And it made two
You
of them.
did.
I think the
You made 2
0.10
burnt
update
patties.
is. I think the 0.10 update is doing something weird with these.
Yeah, it definitely is because they're things were going very well. Look at the way that egg is cooked. A little overcooked, if you ask me, but nonetheless,
Oh yeah, I don't like any brown on
You
my
know.
egg.
yeah, no, for sure. I actually put like way too much butter in the pan. If you don't know, that's the secret to cooking anything, by the way.
Add more
Any
butter.
restaurateur will tell you that. Yeah, literally,
More
actually,
butter.
just you. Oh, how does it taste so good? Well, secretly, there's a heck ton of butter on it. So now that's why they, they're not going to tell you that calorie count right away. That's for sure.
Cheeseburger. I've got one of those. Nope.
You wanna know
I've
how to
got
make a
bacon burgers? Bacon burger. Right here.
Macca's patty. You know how to make a McDonald's patty?
What do you
Really
mean?
Easy. The secret sauce to the McDonald's meat.
Ton
Wanna
of
know what
salt
it
and
is?
pepper.
No. It's got Worcestershire sauce and soy sauce in the patty.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My wife wanted to make quote Big Mac salad, which is essentially just no buns but all
Yeah.
other ingredients
Mhm.
in a bowl, and a lot more lettuce, of course. And yeah, so I'm like, I got you. Let me handle the protein. All the other parts real easy to put together, whatever. And I did this, and she's like, wow, this tastes exactly like the Big Mac, because the secret sauce is really just Thousand Island dressing. Don't let anybody fool you. And the
Basically, yeah.
the actual secret is the protein. It's the beef and the way that they make that. So yeah, Worcestershire sauce, little soy sauce, done.
What?
You're just pumping out unlimited burgers. That's not a real burger. That's every time you make a cheeseburger, you get a regular one.
Yeah.
Easy. Just gonna have floating
Classic
burgers
burger.
everywhere.
Yeah, order one, already done.
Oh, lucky for you. So there's a restaurant in Seattle that does this. It's a very small chain, regional chain only. It goes by I'm gonna call it Richards because I don't think I can say this word on a live stream. But that is the legitimate name.
Okay.
And they make burgers in like huge volumes, but they also don't ever allow
Am I
you
out
to
of
modify
lettuce?
them.
What?
You
I'm
can't
out
be
of lettuce.
veg, right? You're out of veg. There was a limited amount of veg.
I don't know. I don't think.
That's not great. Maybe it's
Hmm.
this Game Maker version though.
I think it's the version. What? I put it down.
Overcooked the patty. It's over.
I grabbed it before it said it was overcooked though.
Oh, my bad. I'm seeing it in the past a little bit, like at the exact same time as everybody in the chat is seeing it. So you'll do a thing, and then I'm like, you know,
I can't get lettuce.
Trying to respond in real time. No lettuce. It's over.
No
No
lettuce.
veg. Game
Yeah.
over. Can you even get a game over in this?
I don't know. But all of
Like,
these
customer satisfaction rate is
sandwiches
0?
use lettuce. So
Maybe that's why you
unless
don't have any more lettuce, because you've met like the maximum sandwich creation stipulation or something. Ah! The sandwich is back. Lol. Hey, that's not what I ordered. Wait. Yeah, they don't even disappear when you fail. Yep. You're just stuck with unlimited burgers. But anyway, Richard's in Seattle will stack these burgers to the ceiling. Like, I wish I was exaggerating. They're just making the burgers. Boom, 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 boom. And so there's like a tower of burgers. And you go in there at 2 a.m. after you're, hanging out with your friends or whatever, however long they're open now. I'm not sure if they still do the like really late night burger sesh. But, and these burgers are making a wall in the background. And you walk up and you're like, hey, I want a classic burger. I want a burger and a fry, whatever. The person just turns around, grabs one off the wall.
That's
Here
what
you go.
McDonald's used to be in like the 70s.
Yeah. It's not made to order though. It's just you're getting one of these cheeseburgers because you wanted a cheeseburger and you knew what you were getting, and you're getting exactly that every single time.
Yeah.
Oh man, they're so good, and they pay pretty well. They pay pretty well too. I was surprised. $25 an hour.
Wow.
Right now.
For a fast food place? That's
Yep.
pretty good.
Because if they don't have to make things to order, and you're just pumping out burger, you can sell a lot of them, and they definitely do. Lines going out the door every single day.
But probably
And,
moving pretty fast.
Yeah, because there's no waiting for these things to be done. It's
All
great.
right. If I get lucky, I'll have 3 orders in a row of regular burgers and be able to complete stage 3 before my customer satisfaction goes to 0. But I highly doubt I'm going to get that lucky on the roll that the only 3 sandwiches I can have will do that. What? Wait.
What? You made an egg sandwich.
Did it just put the lettuce there?
It just... Sure?
Okay. Maybe
Is
the lettuce
just
is
spawning in
automatic
the burger
now. I don't know.
You've reached the
So-
tier. You leveled up to the point where your roaches know lettuce is just there. What happened to the cheese? What just happened?
It vanished, I think, because it was the wrong order. But
And this is honestly, comparing this to the way that it played when we were testing these, none of this is the dev. This is entirely just that version
right.
up from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
And probably
And they're not allowed to change it during the update. But
yeah.
I would be playing this on 0.9, but it is it's no longer available. I don't think. I might have been able to play this on 0.9 if I still had it installed.
I tried to use 0.9 yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Accidentally on the stream. So
All right.
it was like, you must download version 10. I'm like,
defeat.
oops. Okay.
Here's our game over. So it is possible to get a game over. But I mean, this was still really cool though, and I love just exploring these. But one of my favorite things with voxel art, well, just not even just voxel art, just games in general, is having miniature worlds where you can be the size of a cockroach or a mouse or an ant, or just seeing the world around you the way you would normally see it, but tiny. So
yeah.
I would highly recommend playing this once it gets an update for 0.10. So congratulations to the team. Is it a team or is it just one person? I think it's a team.
I think it's a team at this point.
It's Great Artwork
'Cause
Studio. Let's see if I got the names
Yeah,
of the people on
because
that
originally
team.
the dev who made the roaches was Rex Roach.
Yep,
And
he's
I
still
think
there.
they're now a part of a larger group.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's Rex Roach, there's GWS Studio, Humble Nix NYX, and Blue Pepper 03. Those are the 4 people on the Greater Work Studio. I mean, as always, just like a lot of these other teams, we've seen them a bunch of times before, and they always bring something awesome to the table. In this case, it's a burger served by a cockroach. But I'm super hungry now. We've been going at this for about 3 hours, and I think we're gonna call it a day. But congratulations to all the winners. You'll be getting that feedback from the judges soon in your email. And thank you everybody for hanging out for this extra long Game Jam stream. Thank you, Joe, for joining me. Joe's going to be back more and more. Always happy to have Joe on the stream with us. I'm going to see if there's anybody that we can raid who might be playing the Sandbox right now. Let's see here.
Garnican in the chat saying hello. Oh, thanks for the stream, LOL.
Welcome, Garnican. We're on our way out right
inbox, now. There was a form earlier in the chat.
I didn't. Thank you. I didn't roll the draw. So before
didn't
we
roll the
go,
draw.
Yeah.
Form? Question mark?
The form's done. The form's closed. But I didn't announce our winner.
Who won?
So 1 second here. Usually, so Joe's not quite like hooked in with the form quite yet. So
sure.
Why am I having trouble exiting?
Do that for the show. For this particular show, this one exact show, I need to do the old school producer role and roll that form with you going forward. So next time,
we'll be ready for it.
I'll handle that just fine.
All right.
But in the meantime, as Alex is rolling this up, just a quick reminder that the Impact Game Jam is going on right now. So if you're already registered for the Impact Game Jam and you are creating your game or experience inside the Sandbox Game Maker, you can submit that game for live playtest before the judging begins. You can submit your game for live playtest via an email that you may have received. So go check your email for the Sandbox Game email. And there is a link that you can click in there to fill out a form to have it playtested either here on the official Sandbox Game channel. Another playtest is happening next Friday. We can do that live, or over on the Council Tech at the Council Tech on twitch.tv or youtube.com, where on Monday and Thursday we'll be doing overflow tests for those people who are making their next experience. So if you're a dev who's here, who maybe you didn't get in the top 10, or maybe even you didn't get into the honorable mention, and or you want to make sure that your game is up to par, up to the top level, then you can submit in that form, and I will playtest those things live on a show here and on our other channel. On my other channel with Alex, mine and Alex's other channel, not the Sandbox official. But that, as I am one of the judges, hopefully the feedback that I give you can increase your chances of getting into that top 10. But anyway, Alex, we're rolling.
All right. We've got a winner. Congratulations to Nervix74. You just won Wizzy the Orange's singed hat. I'll be sending those out today.
Hey,
I got a couple from previous streams to send out, so we'll be all caught up with sending out those hats today. If you were a Catalyst winner from previous streams, I did send all the uncommons, but I'm not in charge of sending the rares and the commons and the Rabbids avatar. Those should be getting sent out in the next month or so. There's some other there's other giveaways related to that are happening, and they're going to send all the rewards at once. So sit tight. But I have it all written down. I talked to Panda. We're all in the loop, so you will be getting that stuff. It might just take a few weeks. And I see Andy Ritchie is streaming right now, so we're gonna go raid Andy. All right, thank you everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.
Thanks everyone.